This week's podcast is brought to you by the Beefy Boys. Just three cool dudes hanging out, talking about sports, video games, music, and whatever else they feel like. Find them at their website, www.beefyboys.com. Also, where you find your other podcasts, iTunes, Podbean, YouTube, all the regulars. The Beefy Boys, the best show on planet Earth.
Hi, I'm Renee.
And I'm Jess.
And we're the Deerfoot Sisters. Sorry to interrupt, but we have some breaking news.
We wanted to let you know that right now you're actually only listening to the second best podcast on planet Earth.
That's right. If you want to check out the world's best podcast, search Deerfeed on iTunes, Spotify, Podbean, all the regulars.
Deerfeed's a podcast featuring two sisters talking about life and all the kooky things it brings, like rhymes.
So when you're done listening to this episode, be sure to check out Deerfeed. Or you can just do it right now. Thanks!
A good podcast requires a good beer. So that's why I always go to my go-to, Keystone Light. If I'm going to the store, I don't want to buy a 12-pack. I want to go for a legit 15-pack. When I go to a party, I don't take Rainier. I take Keystone Light. And you know what? It tastes so good, I'm going to have it right now. Cheers, folks. Yeah, there's a burp coming in. That's good. What's up, folks? Welcome back to Christian Sports Bar. I almost said welcome back to the Beefy Boys. This is a branch off series from the Beefy Boys. I am joined here with my two great friends, Mark.
Hell yeah.
And Blake, a big name in the Beefy Boys studio room here.
Yep. This episode's brought to you by the color purple and the number 10.
Hell yeah.
Oh my.
We're going on a Huskies rampage here. So
I like Sesame Street.
So we're gonna get right into this here. So
I like racism. Anyways.
We're gonna get right into this. We're gonna go. So last night, I'm assuming you guys were paying attention, a little bit. Blake, if you were working, I'm sure you were watching the game since you had it on TV. So, quick upset in the college football world, Mark, if you're not aware, was USC, unranked USC beats number 10 Utah in California.
Wow.
It was a 30-23 matchup, and USC dropped down to their third string quarterback.
Ooh.
And listen to this guy's numbers. So this is the senior from Utah, Tyler Huntley.
Right.
He went 22 for 30, 210 yards with one touchdown. And then the junior, this is the third stringer, Matt Fink. This guy had some pretty goddamn good numbers, man.
No kidding.
He went 21 for 30, 351 yards, three touchdowns, one interception.
Wow.
That's a big fucking game.
Yeah.
The most surprising stat for me on this one was their wide receiver. The wide receiver for USC, he put on a fucking show last night. So, Blake, if you were watching it, you knew how this guy played.
I watched, I was busy at work, but I got to watch the second half of the game, and it's just college football, man.
College football, dude. You
never
know.
The stat lines, all that stuff, throw it out the window. It's just whoever came to ball is going to play.
See, that's the beauty of college football because in NFL you kind of have an idea like if New England's playing the Dolphins, we obviously know New England's going to kick the shit out of the Dolphins.
Absolutely.
And and that's a divisional game, so it should be a little bit more competitive. But in the NFL, they're all professionals, so things are they're structured, it's more structured. And that's why,
Yeah, and they got Judy's scroll of rules, man.
and that's why a college football team, that is great, like Alabama was a few years ago, would never beat a 0-16 Browns team because that Browns team it's filled with nothing but professionals and it's more structured.
Right. Best coaching.
And the best coaching. You're talking like a whole different world. Mm-hmm. So any of these simulations and any of that shit that people were saying that, I think that these guys would beat the Browns because they're statistically one of the worst teams ever. No, not a fucking chance. If Alabama were to play the Browns, it would be a 70-point game for the Browns.
Slaughtered.
100%.
They'd get slaughtered.
Oh, yeah, and it was like a couple weeks ago when we were at the Cal game. I just remember we were sitting there and we were, the game was kind of starting to slip away and we all kind of were accepting it.
Yeah.
And there were these kids down in front of us, they were students there and they were just like, I can't believe we're losing to Cal. This isn't supposed to happen. And I was like, who said this isn't supposed to happen?
Yeah.
I mean,
it's fucking sports.
It's
college ball.
they beat up on us last year, mostly defensively. They're a stout team. The coach there comes from Coach Peterson's coaching tree at Boise State, so he knows what's up.
And that Boise State, his tenure at Boise State was fucking.
Well, yeah, it was a top 10 team every year. So I don't know. It's that's college football though. You have a game plan, you come and you execute it. Hell, even that Hawaii game last week where it's like we were just blowing the crap out of them in the first half of the game. Then all of a sudden, my brother and I were like, all right, you know what? Let's go home and make some dinner. Like, we kind of know where this is going. We're in the car on the way home. Turn on the radio. All right, well, Hawaii's really battled back into this one, putting up 20 unanswered points. And we're like, oh, my God, are you kidding me?
21 answered points when they were down by 45. So,
I know.
Like,
We're just like, it's like, we'll be fine. But that little bit of nervousness crept up to you where you're like, oh, geez.
Oh, shit. Yeah.
Could you imagine people...
Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Mark.
Could you imagine people like placing bets on a game? Like, thank God for like my bookie now because they would have really been pinching a fucking hole in their underwear, making a bet on that Hawaii game.
I can't sports bet because the spreads are too. I mean, they're too out of this world, man.
Well, here's
like
the thing.
if you place a bet on a spread, that spread changes drastically during the game.
Oh, for sure.
So it like when I watch my brother is big on the sports gambling.
Is he?
But he's a little bit smarter with it. He knows his sports gambling. He's good with it.
Well, he places. Well, I don't know if this is for sure, but like I think that him and all those guys, they place a lot of bets and just kind of see where things go. They don't put a lot of money on one game.
Exactly. 100%.
Yeah,
and that's a good way to kind of branch out and to have a chance of winning. Have a better chance of winning.
Yeah, I had a buddy named my buddy Jan used to do that too, where he just had like he was just putting lots of bets, like he would just take the under on like every game and just bet like a couple of bucks on it, and then at the end of the day, it would fluctuate. But I mean, yeah, that was like that game last week when they were doing the the Falcons and the Eagles, and I was like, there's two good defensive teams, dude. I was like, take the under, screw it, just do it.
Oh yeah,
and that under was good. I mean, under 53 points.
It was like 55.5, something like that.
Taking that, especially with a good offense on the road, and then with two good defenses playing against each other. Yeah, the under definitely played out. But you see, even knowing that, I just can't ever place money.
I know. I'm just not much of a game. I don't get a high out.
Well, here,
I'll place like a season bet. Like I'll place like a season bet like I have with the Seahawks, where I was drunk one night and I made a bet saying that they're going to go 13-3. I was fucking drunk, and when I'm drunk, the Seahawks are going to win the Super Bowl every time, 100%.
You hear me do it with you guys all the time. Like,
you need to stay drunk all the time, man.
Well, I'm just like I do it with you guys all the time. It's like, okay, $1 bet right now. It's just $1.
$1. $1.
Screw it.
Buck.
It's just for fun.
Fuck it. I'll even go up to $5, $10. I usually will go $5 to $10, but just because
I'm not doing thousands though.
No, fuck
I
no.
don't have thousands.
Well, I mean, the thing with betting too, is like, with the NFL, you can kind of tell where things are going to go. But like you said, with college football, their bodies are young and they're doing this to get in the pros, and they're doing this
it's a fucking job application,
exactly.
Man. And I think
college is the job application of the NFL.
That's kind of, because the big topic as of right now with college football is California wants to pay their athletes in the NCAA. And,
I wanted to talk to you about that.
There's 58 schools that the NCAA is going to have to pay student athletes. And, if you're talking about, if you're willing to pay the football team, you're going to have to pay every goddamn sport that's at this school. So think about
that's true.
Every school in the nation. It ain't gonna fucking happen.
The reason why it won't happen is because the fan base isn't as big.
The fan base is bigger.
The fan base is bigger in college?
Absolutely.
Are you sure?
Well, you got the stadiums are way bigger. You got to look at the stadium size. They fill them up every time. Tradition is huge. Yeah. Family tradition is big. I mean, granted, Pac-12 schools may not be as popular as like SEC schools, but look at those stadiums. Like, look at Ohio State. It's like 110,000 people fill up that fucking stadium every Saturday. Traditions are huge with college football, and they generate a shitload of money. I understand that the NCAA generates a lot of money, and that, it's a little bit weird that these student athletes are going out there and they're putting their careers on the line every Saturday to play.
Absolutely.
But if you're going to pay them, it's going to become the question of when are we going to pay high school students for doing the same thing? Because high school students die in Texas. They die in the Midwest because coaches don't know how to coach these guys, dehydrate them, and then they die because of dehydration in fucking 110-degree weather running lines all goddamn
really?
day. Absolutely,
yeah,
it's happened.
It's happened.
It's been a big fucking thing, man. But that's a lack of coaching skill.
Yeah.
You know, if you're a coach and you're running these kids to death, you're a piece of shit.
But here's the other
But
thing.
in college, they're not doing that shit. But freak accidents could happen.
Right. But the other thing is, these guys are running their hearts out just to get there. Like, you know, they're not making a ton of money in college, man.
No.
You know, if you're a college kid, I'm sorry, you do the Campbell's chunky soup and the fucking canned tuna diet, okay?
Absolutely.
I mean, at least let them get a little.
Kids, I work for a catering company.
These guys
cater.
We
cater to
these guys have.
kids.
You know, these guys get full ride.
The athletic department and stuff. We'll cater.
But I mean, that's
them.
like a meal. Like, you think about these guys who need their money, man.
Yeah, I know, but I'm just saying. I know what you're saying. Though,
I don't have a problem with putting $1 in your pocket, but I'm not going to pay you like a professional.
That's the thing, and they're saying that these football players deserve $163 on average $1,000 a player.
What you're also talking about, I mean, just going from the NFL to college, on a college roster, there's like 100 players.
Yeah, dude, it's just not gonna. It's not gonna work.
Roster like the NFL, and I'm just like, that's a lot of money.
Yeah,
the NCAA will never pay.
Well, don't they have like booster clubs and stuff too?
They've got booster clubs. Yeah, they've got scholarships. The NCAA gives scholarships.
Most of these kids are comfortable.
A lot of these guys are, and I think a lot of these pros who are now making $160 fucking million in their career are going out and speaking and saying, well, when I played college, I didn't get paid, and I should be getting paid.
Oh, yeah. Well, now they're all starting to throw fits like Michael Thomas did this year and Zeke Elliott, where it's like, okay, I'm done with the rookie contract. Give me a big one. I've proven my worth.
And you see, I'm cool with that. They're fucking professionals.
Well, and hey, the team's caved. They're like, yeah.
Yeah.
You're right.
You need Michael Thomas. You need it. I know a lot of Cowboys fans said, we don't need fucking Ezekiel Elliott. Yes, you do, because without him, your quarterback is not going to win you a Super Bowl. I'm sorry. Their biggest chance of winning a Super Bowl is having Ezekiel Elliott healthy and having a strong run game.
And their defense is badass, too.
Their defense is pretty badass. I'll give them that. The Cowboys do have a pretty solid team.
Oh, man.
But with losing Zeke, good fucking luck.
Yeah.
Because then you lose your biggest threat on the field that teams have to focus on. And so when teams lose that focus, they focus on Dak Prescott.
Yeah, it's a rough argument with the whole.
And we saw what happened when Zeke wasn't playing last year with the Cowboys.
Totally.
Dak Prescott was completing passes, but it was completing a 3rd and 17 for 4 yards, and that's pretty much what the Cowboys offense was.
Yeah, I just see this whole paying student athletes thing kind of like abortion, where it's like, I get it, like, why
it's
you
a sensitive subject.
Yeah, it's like, I get
subject.
why you're for it, I get why you're against it, but for me, it's just like, I don't know, man.
I can't really.
I can't get that passionate about it. I've heard arguments. I agree with both sides, but it's like, until they do something about it, I don't really know what to think.
I mean, then you think about it. What about all these D1 school or D2 schools, D3 schools? Like you're looking at like North Dakota, who wins championships, Eastern Washington, Eastern Michigan. You're paying all these schools. There's more schools than there is professional football teams. No shit. Yeah. But all of these schools are going to have to pay their rosters of 100 and goddamn players on their team, and then all their other sports activities. So you're talking soccer, baseball, volleyball, softball, all that shit.
That's a good point.
It's going to.
Well, I hear people too saying that a lot of these kids, when they get here, they get scholarships. So their school's free.
Absolutely.
So like, and I think that includes usually housing and stuff like that. And then like if the team's helping them out with like food and things, like, they're not living on the streets.
Because they have food cards. Yeah, they have housing and they have food cards. Because working at a grocery store near the University of Washington, that's a high-end grocery store. It's expensive as fuck. I don't even shop there, and I work there.
Oh, yeah.
These guys were going in there and buying our food on a regular. We're talking 5 days a week. These guys are coming in and buying fucking food from us, and that's not cheap food.
And these are things that I didn't know. See, if you're getting food, man, okay. Fine.
You're getting housing, you're getting schooling, and
you're getting a percentage of everything that the NCAA is earning.
Absolutely. And, when Joe and I were talking about this last week, he said that a lot of these student athletes are taking courses that aren't real courses.
Yeah.
I am going to shut him down. I already shut him down on that one, but I know he's going to listen to this again and shake his head. But we talked about it. These guys, these student athletes are not what they were back then. You can't be how things were like back then when, let's say like when Reggie Bush was in school.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think that those athletes were taking real courses. When Brian Bosworth was in school and he had a fucking team with Busta Rhymes and, Nelly and shit like that. Those guys aren't taking real courses.
Dude, I remember that.
Yeah, but the Boz, I watched the documentary on him. He got a degree at some point.
Exactly.
I don't know if that was
these guys.
I don't know if that was when he was at Oklahoma or after he stopped playing football. But like,
most likely after he stopped playing football.
Well, I mean, following the Huskies, I know that Chris Peterson holds very highly that a lot of his athletes
that grade point average to play grade point average to play for the Huskies is around 3.5.
Yeah, so
that's
if your grades
smart.
suck, you're not playing.
Yeah.
So.
And then, you got these guys in the pros who, I think I can't remember his name, but I did see him on TV and they were interviewing him and he said, well, if I wasn't playing football, I'd be studying rocket science. But that's not a dumb course.
Well, yeah.
No,
and that's coming from somebody who played on the East Coast.
That was like way back in the day, like, back when the NFL was still kind of like an early thing and before athletes were getting paid millions of dollars. Yeah,
these guys needed their fucking jobs.
And during the off season, they'd go sell concrete. They'd go to like, they'd become salesmen because they had to put food on the table. You get your small salary from the NFL, but
for sure.
in the off season, you had to go out there and do it.
You don't see these guys who are retiring these days doing dumb shit. Like, a lot of these guys who did play back in the day and didn't have the proper schooling, there are the ones that are out there buying a failing restaurant in a failing location in like Miami, and then they go bankrupt.
Yeah.
But you don't see that shit you don't ever fucking see that anymore with these NFL players retiring with all their millions. These guys are smarter. These guys are all really smart.
Yeah.
And, think about Lawrence Taylor. Like, that's a perfect example of a guy who was one of the best football players ever of his time.
All time.
Of all time as well. Dude, he lost all of his money. He turned his house into a crack den with his opioid addiction and all. He was addicted to opioids. And so he turned his house into a total crack house, and lost lost his family. I read his book, and his book is really it's tragic. But the guy now is he's obviously gotten his shit together.
Right.
But back when he left football, even when he was playing football, it's not normal for head coaches now to drive over to your crack addicted linebacker's house and pull him out of the house because he has a game in 2 hours.
Right.
And Bill Parcells was a guy that didn't take any shit.
Yeah.
But the one guy that he allowed to really kind of weasel through the rules was Lawrence Taylor, because he could be a crack addict Monday through Saturday. He shows up at the field, obviously late, but he shows up at the field on Sunday and he balls out.
Yeah.
He'll sack the quarterback. He'll get interceptions. He'll get fumbles. He'll make tackles. He balled out. And, Parcells really tried to coach him and really kind of get him back on track. But obviously when you're addicted like that, you just can't do it. And so,
God, there have been so many crackheads in football, dude.
Oh yeah, and look at Lamar Odom in basketball.
Oh,
that guy's almost died
That
guy's almost died like fucking 5 times, and now he's hanging out with DMX.
Oh my God!
What a horrible combination.
Could you imagine smoking crack with DMX? That'd be the most stressful situation of your life, dude.
Oh my God.
Oh God.
I can't imagine. One, I can't imagine how paranoid he is.
Oh man.
Anyway.
2, I can't imagine smoking crack.
I'm sorry, those Kardashians, they screwed that guy up.
They'll fuck your life up.
They screwed everybody up. Yes.
They'll fuck your life up.
I'm telling you, they're standing around the cauldron cooking up a potion for the next poor fuck that gets married to him.
But so when it comes to really getting these college athletes paid. A lot of them have outlets outside of football now. A lot of them have careers built because they went to school, a good school. Like University of Washington's one of the best public schools in the nation. I think it's in the top 10. So you're looking at good schooling, you're looking at housing, food, all that good shit, and you're playing a sport that you love, and you're allowed to play it, and you're playing it in front of thousands of people who love you.
Right.
And if you go to the pros, great on you. But now these days, there's so many outlets that these athletes can go to that have careers. These guys aren't dumb.
Right.
These guys are not dumb people anymore, and they do have careers outside of football, which is what I love. But it's a gray area on paying student athletes that I don't like to really get into very much.
One of those things
the only gray area that I have where I support that is that they're banging up their body. So they're going to end up looking like Stephen Hawking at 35, and they're going to be sitting there fucking crippled for the rest of their life. That one bad hit that they take to the head changes everything. The one injury that you have, that's for the rest of your life. Even for the name of the sport, the sport is fucking wonderful, and it brings a lot of great advantages and a lot of career opportunities, but you're banging up your body.
And as I said to Joe
you only got
before,
one body.
As I said to Joe before, you're not playing college football just because you one day decided I'm going to play college football. You play college football because you love the fucking sport.
Yeah.
You choose where you want to go play because you are passionate about that game and you're passionate about the fan base.
Yeah.
That's college football. Yeah. And I think, like I said, we shouldn't spend much longer on this topic, but
yeah, I'm like,
we're burnt out on it.
I don't know.
Exactly.
Man.
It's a gray area.
I agree with you, Mark. Yes, they do get beat up
they
a lot too,
up.
but it's one of those things too where it's like you signed up.
That's true.
You knew what you were getting into,
and they keep trying to make the game safer. That's why the AB helmet thing was such a. Everyone's like, "What the hell's up with that in the helmet?" I'm like, "Well, because they tested this helmet 10,000 times, and they're noticing that it's not a safe helmet
rattling
for you
your
to
goddamn
wear."
brain.
So they're like, they're trying to make the game safer. They have the targeting rules and stuff now, even though you see they don't. Oh, the kid's ejected, but it's like, why don't you take him out of the program?
Yeah.
He's like headhunting people. It's scary. Like if you have if you get ejected, I think twice in one season, I think you should be off the team.
Yeah.
Because clearly,
I mean, look what happened with Marcus Peters on the Huskies. His tenure didn't last here long because he had a bad attitude.
Yeah.
And Coach Peterson doesn't put up with that shit. So he went and graduated at some fucking technical college in California and hates UW. And, I think he's an overrated corner as it is already.
I think he was kind of a Sarkisian kind of kid, though. I think
exactly.
he just was here.
And holy shit, Sarkisian kids. Ugh.
Yeah, whatever.
What a fucking mess.
Yeah.
Anyway, Coach Peterson has drastically changed.
He's the new dog father.
Hell yeah.
What we got next?
I gotta unlock my fucking computer because it's just locked. Yeah. Still recording though, baby. So
there we go.
Okay, so to finish up that quick little pippity, both teams go to 3-1 after the USC win. So we're gonna talk about the Huskies. Okay. As we already were, but they played Hawaii last week, as we kind of brushed up on, so we can skip a lot of that shit.
Yeah.
But a lot of the reasons why I don't feel like we should talk too much about this game is because it's fucking Hawaii, but it is a good bounce back week for the Dogs. I mean, they did lose a tragic loss at 1:45 in the morning a couple weeks ago against Cal by 1 point.
Yeah.
You don't want to have the bad juju going into a bigger game. Like if they're going from that game to BYU, that's spooky. That's a scary area.
Yeah, it's really I don't know. I've been trying to talk to people because people know I've season ticket consulting. Everyone wants to talk to me about it. I'm like, honestly, I can't really say much about this team until the next couple of weeks when we play BYU and USC. Yes, that Cal game was a rough game. It was drug out. It was just a fist fight the whole entire time, which I had a feeling.
And both teams
I had a feeling.
man.
I had a feeling it was going to be like.
Yeah, absolutely. Both teams did show up. But Cal was just flawless in that victory. They were flawless.
they came in with their game plan, executed it, controlled the clock. Just what's his name? The linebacker that was talking hella shit about the Huskies.
Yeah,
didn't he have 17 tackles?
Yes, he was
something?
A fucking
Jesus
monster.
Christ, he's like the boss.
If you're gonna talk your shit, you back it up just like that guy, because that guy got in the head of the Huskies.
I mean, that was rough, but then we have the Eastern game to work off of where we just blew the crap out of them. Yeah, the Hawaii game. Yes, not much to talk about. We blew the crap out of them, but today's game going against BYU's defense and going against another Pac-12 opponent in the next couple of weeks with USC and Oregon, Or no, sorry, we don't go to Oregon later in.
No, Oregon comes here.
Yeah, that's later. That's late.
Here.
Sorry, that's later in the month.
And that's about October, almost the tail end of October.
Tail end of October.
Ooh,
Anyway,
my butt cheeks are going to be tight during that game, man.
Yeah,
I'm excited.
That's going to be a great game.
But
Oregon's always
until we play more Pac-12 opponents, I don't really have a huge opinion about the team right now. It's just it's kind of hard to talk about. Where it's like, yeah,
but there are fun things to talk about. And I'm going to get to that right now. So so Jake Eason, obviously being the junior quarterback coming in, having SEC experience, pretty awesome. He went 262 yards, 3 touchdowns, 0 interceptions, 18 for 25 with a 72% completion rating, which is pretty damn good. And the defense was getting turnovers, which is the first game of the year that they were actually able to generate turnovers, which is crazy. Playing Eastern, they didn't do it. Good. But here's my favorite part about this, and I was ranting about this after the Cal game, is why haven't we seen a lot of these younger players in the game? If something's not working, why not try to plug in something else? I get playing off of veteran mentality and stuff like that, but these guys are hungry and they want to play. Good. So this is my favorite part about the Hawaii game for me, was the true freshmen. Let's see here. There's 3 of them. Trent McDuffie getting his first career start against Hawaii, which is awesome. Good for him, and he had a good game. I don't know if I'm saying this guy's fucking name right, but Puka Naka?
The wide receiver.
Yes.
Yeah.
Having his first career touchdown.
He balled.
Yeah, hell yeah.
If you ball, you get the call.
And those touchdown passes, I'm telling you, those touchdown passes were
crispy.
They were so smooth. So they were perfectly placed. Yeah. And that's where you get your East Coast football, is dropping that football right in the bucket, where it's tight coverage, but it's right in the spot where the receiver can grab it.
We had 3 interceptions. Did we have any fumble? I can't remember if we had any fumble recoveries too.
I can't remember if we did or not. No. But
3 interceptions I'm cool.
3 INTs is pretty damn good. And then Cameron Williams recorded his first interception against Hawaii.
He's a young kid too.
He's true freshman.
He's a true freshman, yeah.
Really?
And so it was good to see them. I want to see Asa Turner. I really want to see Asa Turner out there, but a time will come where Asa Turner will have his moment. And it's good that these guys are slowly getting integrated into the system. So next year, this defense is going to be a whole different story. These guys are all young kids, and they're all brand new to the college football scene, and it's good to see them performing. And then the defensive lineman, Tua, can't pronounce his last. I'm sorry, buddy, I can't pronounce your fucking last name.
You're not Polynesian.
What's that?
You're not Polynesian. You can't pronounce their names.
I know. I'm not Polynesian, man. I look Polynesian, but I'm not. I fit right in with them. I love it. I love the Polynesians. I know. And so, but I can't pronounce his name. It's a hard name to pronounce, but. Tua.
Yeah, he plays like barefoot. It's awesome.
He's an awesome player. I think he got a first sack in the first game against Eastern, and then he racked up a sack against Cal. So good on him.
No, I think he got a couple against Eastern. He was the Pac-12 Defensive Player of the Week.
Nice.
Week 1, I think.
See, good for him. Wow. And so
I think he had like 2 or 3 sacks and like 7 tackles.
And then you've got both Bryants. Yeah, both Bryants balling out with Hunter Bryan winning the what's it called, the Mackey tight end award of the week. So he was tight end player of the week. And then you have Miles Bryant winning the Pac-12 Defensive Player of the Week, and his turnovers were fucking nuts. When he took the ball out of that dude's hands, so this guy literally catches the ball. Miles Bryant literally puts his hand in there, grabs the football, and just rips it out of his arms.
His pocket.
Literally just steals the football from him. It's incredible to watch. So now they're playing BYU, which Blake said is a big game. BYU is 2-1 on the season after beating both Tennessee and USC.
Shit, that game starts in like 20 minutes.
It does. And so, but they dropped to Utah in week 1. So, I mean, but BYU's got a solid linebacker core. As Blake was saying earlier, their linebacker game their defense is nuts. And their linebacker core, it's not going to be easy for the Huskies to run the ball. And even passing the ball is not going to be. So the Huskies really have to be aggressive against this team and really work the clock. Yeah. And drive this defense into the ground.
Just put drives together, dude. Just tire them out.
Absolutely.
10 plays, 5-minute drives that just go on forever, like the Patriots.
So their solid linebacker core with Kavika Fonua, Isaiah Kofuzi, and Peyton Wilger, who each have interceptions on the season, and 5 pass deflections between them, and then 58 tackles between the 3 of them. So that's pretty fucking insane. So obviously we could talk about college football all fucking day long, but college football is going on right now. Wisconsin's blowing out Michigan. So what we're going to do...
Michigan's poor prison wallet.
What we're going to do is we're going to transition here
Okay.
to the NFL.
All right.
One of my first topics, everybody's expecting Antonio Brown. My first topic of the NFL this week is Gardner Minshew.
Oh, God.
Love the guy. I fucking love the guy.
I know. I like him, too.
You know, even as a Wazoo graduate, and he transferred to Wazoo in his senior year, and so, he had 1 year with them, but he was awesome, and he was on the Heisman watch, and him and his mustache were a big thing in Pullman, which is cool.
He's like a cult hero, yeah.
And I root for Wazoo if they're not playing the Huskies, so, good on them. And good on him. So he went to Jacksonville. He got drafted in the 6th round, went to Jacksonville. And Dick Foles, Big Dick Nick, got hurt. And was it the first game?
Broke his clavicle.
In the first game of the year. Yeah, first game, first half.
Against the Chiefs.
And so they came out, they lost that game, and then they lost the next week to a nail-biter against the Texans, who Gardner Minshew had a pretty good game that game, but they lost because they went to... They scored a touchdown and they ran the ball on a 2-point conversion with Leonard Fournette, which everybody kind of saw coming. It was a very, very conservative play call that I wasn't a big fan of. It lost them the game.
They didn't get cute like when Carolina lost the week before to the Bucks, though. I mean, don't get me wrong. I would totally give the ball to Christian McCaffrey, but the play was just. I remember I was watching it and I was just like, well, Cam kind of crept over by the right tackle, like he was like calling something, and then he runs like he's gonna block, but of course he's not gonna block. And then they try some like weird. I just hated it.
I have never seen a football player disintegrate the way Cam Newton has. Poor guy has just been mangled. And I say poor guy because I'm not a big Cam Newton fan.
Fuck that guy.
But here's the thing about Cam Newton. I don't like to see football careers go out because cheap shots and injuries. I like to see football players
have long
careers and then retire. Yeah. I'd prefer that.
Yeah.
But Cam Newton's brain has been scrambled like my fucking eggs this morning.
No, his shoulder's made out of pulled pork.
Yeah, his shoulder's been just
coated in
up.
too much Lowry's.
This guy is just getting annihilated. And, there was a season there where the referees just were not... They just didn't give a flying fuck what happened to Cam. Yeah. But, it is what it is,
And he's been getting headhunted.
He's been getting
headhunted for so long.
One of the biggest things is like watching the 2016 Broncos Carolina game after their Super Bowl they played Thursday night. Just watching that game, watching that Denver defense just hit him right in the fucking head.
Oh, yeah.
It's spooky, and I understand Cam's concern.
It's the way he's been playing too, though. He used to run the ball a ton, and I mean, I bring this up about Russell Wilson too all the time, and like why Tony Romo had to retire so early and stuff is that some guys just don't know how to get hit.
Yeah,
absolutely.
You don't know how to. It sounds stupid, but it's like wrestling, where it's like you don't know how to fall good.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, look at Russell Wilson. I mean, it's frustrating with Russell Wilson.
Cam is a huge dude too. You don't. Like, people don't understand. Like he's like what, like
6'5", 6'6".
He's bigger. Yeah, he's huge.
He's big, and he's like 230 pounds. So he runs the football like a maniac. And but the thing is he doesn't slide.
Right.
So he'll get annihilated because he's a running back.
And knock you like a fullback.
And he will lower his shoulder, and when you lower your shoulder, you're going to get hit in the head. So partially it's it's on him, but at the same time, when he's in the pocket, when he gets hit in the head, it shouldn't be happening.
Right.
And also that that O-line is disintegrating and just letting him get annihilated even more.
His career's been pretty long. I mean,
he has had a long career. Was it
8 years?
2011, right? Yeah. So 2011 till now, to be slowly starting to disintegrate as of right now, it's pretty damn good. Good on him. I don't think he'll ever win a Super Bowl, which sucks. But he was close.
Not with that team.
He was close, but not with the team they have now.
They had their shot.
Yeah, and they fucking blew that bad.
Oh, man.
But that Denver defense was no fucking joke. The Denver defense was...
And then Peyton Manning made some kind of like deal with the devil. I'll play one more game and I'll have a perfect game and I'll win a Super Bowl, then I'll retire. It's like in Little Nicky when who is it? Dan Marino's talking to the devil. He's like, I can't stand retirement. Come on, did somebody win one Super Bowl? The devil's like, I don't think I can do that to you. You're such a nice guy. And he's like, well, you did it for Namath. God. And then the devil's like, yeah, but Joe was coming here anyway.
Oh.
Yeah.
Joe Namath made a deal with the devil to win one Super Bowl. Nice. I mean, it's funny, though. Dan Marino's like, fuck this. This sucks.
So, so Gardner Minshew beat the Titans on Thursday night, ending that embarrassing 4-game loss from Jacksonville to the Titans. Yeah. So, good job there. I mean, Titans are a terrible football team as well.
He's doing the he's the perfect
it changed.
It's the perfect backup. They're just they're playing super safe. Just everyone do their thing. And he's lucky too because he's in a division that is crap. So it's like you can actually do something. It's like I bring this up all the time and a lot of Patriot fans hate me, but it's like, could you imagine if the Patriots were in the AFC West during Tom Brady's whole career?
Yeah, they would not be as successful as they are.
Yeah, no, I mean,
if they were in any other division.
I mean, but like, I'm not saying they wouldn't be as successful, but I'm saying the AFC East is garbage.
It's trash.
It's been garbage for like 20 years.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I'm like
the Jets, the Bills.
The only people holding it up is the Patriots.
Yeah, every other team they've cycled through 100 coaches. There's just nothing. I think the Rex Ryan Jets like 10 years ago were the last like decent team in that division.
Well, the last two teams in that division to go to the playoffs that weren't the Patriots were Miami a couple like 4 years ago, and then the Bills 3 years ago.
Back,
yeah. So and I think the Bills. I think the Bills this year, I'm liking the way that Josh Allen's playing football.
Bills are looking good. Yeah, no,
I like his attitude.
Yeah, but I'm just bringing up for like Jacksonville. Like I think that Minshew's in like just a perfect situation right now.
Absolutely,
he has a team with a solid defense. They have a good running back, pretty good receivers.
Yeah, I mean, not like elite receivers, but
they're not household names. But it's like, you know,
but
I drafted D.D. Westbrook in one of my fantasy teams. I'm like, yeah, screw it.
For a player like Minshew to have the targets that he has, like not very well-known receivers, it's good on both of them, you know. Good on the receiver because he's going to target every receiver on the field. Yeah. Which he's done because there's, you know, their leading receiver will have 5 receptions for 80-some yards in a game, but then you look at their player, or like, you know, you look at the game stats and every receiver has got 3 or 4 receptions.
Oh yeah.
It's a good way to run your offense.
Yeah.
And
Minshew's looking good.
It goes into the sense of Leonard Fournette. I think that Leonard Fournette had a great rookie season, and then he didn't do anything last year because he got hurt. He played 8 games, but he only got 500 yards on the whole year. And then this year, he's got, I think he's so Leonard Fournette he's a 4.2 yard per run average running back right now, and he's got 43 attempts for 179 yards with no touchdowns. So it's not the worst start to a season, not at all for the first few weeks.
They just stack the box when he's in the backfield. They stack
they know
the
his
box
game.
up.
They know his game.
He's a horror. Well, you saw it late in the game on Thursday.
Yeah,
he had that one breakout run where it was like all of a sudden it was like, oh. But
that's
but
what he's
they
there
brought
for.
up some stat in the game too, like where he out of all running backs in the NFL, he is like the one where they stack the box up like 70% of the time he's in the backfield.
He's a power back for sure. He's a workhorse, and I don't want to say that he's a bad running back, but I don't want to say that he's elite. He's not elite, you know.
Oh yeah.
Not as right now.
No,
if you were to come back, his rookie season was nuts. 1,000 yards, and I think. I think he had 100 or maybe even more reception yards, but that was, you know, you're looking at
he's crazy.
You're looking at a running back that has a lot of reception yards. I think his career reception yards are around in the 500s or almost 600. But then you think with Blake Bortles, he wasn't throwing that ball down the field, and there's a reason why they got rid of Allen Hurns and of what's his name? I'm trying to remember his
Marquise Lee.
There's Marquise Lee as well, and then there was the other Allen Robinson. They got rid of all 3 of those receivers because Bortles just wasn't throwing to him after eventually he just couldn't because that line was just dissolving in front of his face. Yeah. So his only option was
defense bailed him out too.
So his only option was to dump the ball off to his running back, who's right there. And that's how, that's good on Fournette for being a good power back and receiving back. But at the same time, people are going to find out your offense, and it's going to shut them down big time. Yeah. And so this year, with Minshew throwing the ball down the field, I don't expect Leonard Fournette's reception yards to go up. I don't expect his rushing yards to be that much of an impact this year on the season. And I think that's just because they finally found a quarterback who's looking down the field and targeting so many different receivers that, defenses have to look, and they're going to be like...
He'll still be their guy. They just need to run more options and stuff.
Absolutely. And I think,
on the other side of the ball in that game, Derrick Henry, I don't think... He's not much of a downhill runner anymore, because I think people stack the box up against him too, but he's really come out as a good receiving back.
Exactly. And you got to transit... If you're power back and you're realizing that you're getting stuffed in that backfield every time you run, because defenses know. That's what happened to Marshawn Lynch. Every time Marshawn Lynch was in the backfield, that defensive line is stacked up with linebackers, and they're ready for him.
But he was feasting off option.
He was great in the reception yards, and he was great down the field too. Mm-hmm. And when you get Marshawn Lynch in an open field, good luck. It's fucking hard to tackle him. One cornerback, that's not an easy tackle.
No.
And so,
I was like when I was at the Kansas City game at Arrowhead, and the guy was like, "Man," and then the guys that were talking to us like, they're Chiefs fans, we're Seahawks fans. My brother and I were like, yeah, dude, we love Jamal Charles and all that stuff. And they're like, yeah, dude, but that Marshawn Lynch is a horse.
Yeah. A horse.
A horse.
Dead serious.
Oh, no.
And so Gardner Minshew's numbers on the season so far are 692 yards, 5 touchdowns, 1 interception. So they're obviously throwing the goddamn football.
Oh, yeah.
And which is awesome. I love to see it. And I hope that his career goes as planned, and I hope that he has a great long career. So we're going to move into, obviously this is my favorite part.
Oh, jeez.
We're going to move into the Seahawks. We'll get into Antonio Brown eventually. I just, let's get into Antonio Brown because it's a 5-minute thing.
Yeah, let's do 5 minutes on it. Antonio Brown officially Colin Kaepernick himself. He's not going to play for any other team, and I think his career is over.
I agree.
All right, there we go.
Well, all over his personality. I mean, the guy is just a cancer to be around in everything.
He's a maniac.
He's absolutely.
He's a fucking wacko.
He was trying to get out of Oakland. I think that's why he deliberately had all those goofy shenanigans. But the Patriots now, it's like they have these press conferences with Bill Belichick, and he's just like, "Do you guys want to talk about football?"
Stop talking.
I'm done.
He doesn't give a shit.
No,
and he did tell Antonio Brown.
Yeah, he's.
You bring any bullshit.
No, he's
to
just
New
done.
England.
Yeah, he's just done. It's like, can't we talk? Like, and he's like, I don't know anything about this stuff. I'm running a team here.
There's a goddamn reason why Bill Belichick is probably the greatest head coach of all time. I mean, he does not.
And their their press statement was great too. It's just like, this isn't working out. Like, just
no bullshit.
No,
nothing like about anything that he's going through. Is just. He doesn't fit the system. He doesn't fit here. It's not working out. We're releasing him, and that's it. So I think you're right. Your summary is spot on. So moving on from Antonio Brown, folks, we're going to get into the Seahawks game. So the Seahawks beat the Steelers on the road in Heinz Field, which is great because I've been waiting to see that happen for a long time.
Yeah,
they scored 0 points in their career in Heinz Field. They've been blown out twice there, so it was nice to see the Seahawks go there. And I was, pretty confident, even before, obviously we didn't know Roethlisberger was going to go out in the beginning of the game, but I was pretty confident that the Seahawks are a different team this year on the road. They look more complete in the first few weeks than I've seen them in a long time. So, obviously they go to 2-0 for the first time since 2013, but they look like they have their shit together more than they do any other year, because last year they started 0-2. Another year they'll start 1-1, or they'll start, they'll start 0-2 again, or 1-1. So it's just kind of trading off.
Yeah, well, in the game too is just a classic early in the year Seahawks game where like just nothing was going on in the first half.
In the first half, just
but
boring
thank
football.
Thank God that Pittsburgh, I mean, they got like 3 sacks in the first half, but at the same time too, they didn't look that great either. So I was kind of like, oh, okay, well, we'll see what's going on. But the thing that was so satisfying was the offense in the second half of the game, just making adjustments, and it's just the quick passes. I just love that.
Putting together drives.
Sometimes we try to go for these big plays that take way too long to develop, and I think that's where the sacks and things just come into play more often. I don't blame the offensive line. I mostly blame the play calling. Because
Russ is dropping back,
doing the thing, it's just like.
Because Russell will drop back. He only, those offensive line can
3 seconds.
They can only do so much. They can only do so much before they get racked up for holding, before they get a penalty for some bullshit.
Yeah.
And these guys do their job. If you watch the Seahawks O-line, people are quick to say this year. I've heard a lot of people say it already. This O-line sucks. They still suck. They do not suck.
That's Seattle fans.
This O-line does not suck.
They hate our team.
Granted, they get a lot of penalties, and they Jermaine Fetty's probably the weakest part of the O-line, because when he has to block a good defensive player, let's say J.J. Watt, he can't block him without holding him, or he just lets J.J. Watt go right to the quarterback.
Yeah.
So he's probably the weakest part of the O-line, and he's not. Penalties aside, he's not all that bad.
You don't hear his name that as much as he used to. When Cable was here, everyone was like, "Who is this Joker?"
Yeah, every goddamn play.
But last year and so far this year,
well, they'll straight up pull him out of a game, and they did. They put Ethan Prosick in there for him when he got 2 penalty holds. I think 2 back-to-back plays. They pulled his ass out of the game. So it shows there's a reason why they haven't signed his contract yet. Because his rookie contract is up at the end of the year. He won't be a Seahawk at the end of the year.
Offensive linemen are very fickle, too.
But it just fucking love that O-line, man. That DJ Fluker, I can't tell you how much I love DJ Fluker. And Dwayne fucking Brown, man. And, Justin Britt. And you've got the guy from 49ers and the Cardinals here now.
Mikey Potty.
Thank you. I love him, too. And
he's just old and hurt. But when he's on, he's on.
Yeah. And so, and this is a team that's doing this and having their defense has been they've been allowing a lot of points, they've been allowing a lot of yards, but this is also a defense that people thought was going to be completely obsolete without Jaron Reed, but they're 2-0, and a lot of people didn't see this coming. And
we don't know anything.
And you've got Reed coming back. You've got Reed coming back in 3 weeks. So the Seahawks have a big opportunity this weekend to go 3-0 against, a Drew Brees-less Saints. I don't want to say that they're going to win. It's not a game that's guaranteed. It's not a guarantee.
I'm nervous because it's not Drew Brees is not that team. It's Sean Payton.
It's not. Yeah, exactly.
That defense could give us a lot of problems.
It's not a guaranteed win. What the Seahawks do have on their advantage is they're coming off of a big win on the road and they're coming home. And then you've got Ziggy Ansah, who's been cleared to play, so he's coming out. So you've got Ziggy Ansah, Puna, and you've got...
Puna might still be hurt, though, but I hope he comes back
So soon. You've got... Yeah, he didn't even play on Sunday, so think about that.
He has a knee thing or something going on. But we also got...
You've got, we got Quentin Jefferson. You've got Ziggy.
Clowney.
Yep.
And then we also got to see a little bit of L.J. Collier last week,
L.J. Collier and Rasheem Green as well.
Mm-hmm.
And Al Woods.
After it.
And fucking Al Woods. Dude, this D-line is nuts.
Yeah.
And they said that this D-line was going to be nothing without Jaron Reed.
Yeah, there was definitely some questions. But, but like I said, we're a young team. So we don't have the Cam Chancellor anymore where it's like, as long as that guy's playing, we're going to be badass. It's like, no, we got to... you don't know what you're going to get.
These guys are young, and they've got to develop, and they're developing in a good way. And this is a football team. When you see these Seahawks and you see their highlights and you see their interviews and you see them just kind of practicing and how they act, this is a football team that has no controversies. They love each other. They're a brotherhood, and they're going out there and they're just playing the game that they love. They're playing football. I fucking love to see it. So Russell Wilson obviously had a perfect game on Sunday. So he went 29 for 35 for 300 yards, 3 touchdowns, 22 rushing yards, QBR rating of 130.9. And he recorded his record 8th NFC Player of the Week, which is awesome. I mean, and you're talking about
he threw his 200th touchdown too, didn't he?
Yeah. Yeah, you're talking about a guy who's under pressure almost this entire game. And he didn't give the ball over once. He didn't fumble. Mm-hmm. He took sacks. But just like Blake was saying, Russell Wilson knows how to get hit.
Yeah.
One of the most frustrating things about Russell Wilson is he'll drop back in the pocket so deep, run, and avoid immediate contact. But when he goes down, he knows it's going to suck because you're going to lose 18 yards, but I'm just going to drop on the ground and have these guys just kind of brush over me or fall on top of me. But he's not going to go out there and get hit in the head.
Right.
He did get hit in the head, and the referees missed it, which is total bullshit.
Yeah.
Not because it was...
How do you not hear someone get cracked like that?
Oh, you could hear it. You could see it, and the referee was right there.
You could see it clear as day.
So Pete Carroll sent it to, he's getting that taken care of, which is good for him because...
They handle that after the game as well.
Yeah,
they'll handle it.
It's also
they'll probably find the referees.
The human element of refereeing too. Like every single play, there's a hold. There's a there's a block in the back on every single kick return somewhere.
I understand that, but
it just sucks when it gets.
You're protecting the quarterback, the game is around protecting the quarterback now, and you see Russell Wilson let go of the ball, and a solid 2 seconds after he throws the ball, he gets hit in the fucking head. Yeah. Like, that's targeting. That's automatic ejection.
And he hasn't taken many hits like that in his whole entire career.
And so he get his fucking brain rattled.
He plays Clay Matthews.
And the referee, the backfield referee is right there.
Yeah.
He's 10 feet away from him. And so the referee the referee and the player. The referees and the players are probably going to get fined after that. The player for sure is going to get fined because they're going to review it. They're going to be like, okay, well, he's targeting. We're going to fine him for that, do all that bullshit. Doesn't mean anything now. The Seahawks are 2-0. I don't fucking give a shit.
Right.
But fine the referees because I do think that referees need to be held accountable.
Absolutely.
And, there was a whole referee team that got fired last year because of their horrible officiating. So they are starting to be taken... or they're starting to be more responsible now.
Do you think that's Do you think that's them being irresponsible, or do you think that that's them having some kind of bias?
No, there's no bias. I don't think that there's any bias. Yeah, I mean, you could play the bias card because your team's getting penalized, but most of the time, Blake is right. There's a penalty on every play. There's a hold in the backfield for the defense. There's pass interference on every play. There's holding on the O-line. There's 2 penalties or more on every single play. So a lot of it is just what they see, what's obvious.
Right.
Yeah.
Like if you're holding onto a lineman and his arms are up in the air and he falls down to the ground, that's an automatic flag. You're getting flagged for that 1,000% out of.
Yeah. And I kind of agreed with what Brady said the other day on Twitter, where it's like sometimes I like college sometimes because there's not a lot of penalties. Sometimes I feel like the NFL is borderline unwatchable just because there's so many penalties. It slows the game down.
Oh, big time.
So much.
I agree with what Tom Brady said. I fucking retweeted that.
Yeah, I know.
I was like, this game fucking sucks.
Yeah. Well, it's like it's not that. It's like almost every game. It's just
game.
like, there's like 20 penalties at the end of the game, and the first week the Browns and they have like 13 penalties for like 180 yards.
Yeah.
I'm like, what the fuck?
Yeah, you
180 yards. No wonder you lost the game. You gave the game away through penalties.
Yeah.
Your
teams
your
commit
defense would have a
penalties.
lights out day, but if you're giving up 180 yards, or I don't know if it was 180, excuse me, but like it's just.
And a lot of this shit with the referees is these guys have a lot of rules, and there's more rules every year that get tacked on.
It's like
So these referees are going into every game with a fucking, like, I'm talking like a Judy Foos rollout list of rules.
Scroll, yes.
Dude, it's like the catch rule, stupid. Yeah. It's still, like, to this day, like, just affecting everything. This new reviewing pass interferences,
I guarantee you this.
Stupid.
I'm going to tell you this on pass interfering. You can challenge your pass interfering for defense.
Yeah.
10 out of 10 of the times, play's going to stand.
It's so
100%.
It's just
they will
so
not,
dumb. It's just a waste of time.
They will not take away a defensive pass interference. Offense, maybe. Defense, absolutely.
Well, then they're
not.
holding up the little tablet to the referee, and the ref's just standing there just drooling, looking at the same play over and over and over again. And I'm just like,
he's like, he still pass interfered.
Yeah, it's just like I listen to John Clayton every morning on the way to work, and he disagrees with it too. And he's like, the more rules that you make, the more confusing it gets to officiate.
And the slower the game gets, and the more people don't want to watch football.
By far,
I agree with Blake. I think college football way more entertaining to watch because, well, the scores are much higher. The penalties, they don't throw as many penalties. They hit harder, and they allow the game of football to be played. Yeah. Obviously, when a penalty needs to be thrown, like when Michigan's quarterback just got decapitated right before we started recording.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah,
throw the goddamn flag. It's obvious.
Yeah.
But holding and all that shit, they barely throw that.
Yeah.
And kickoff returns. You can actually watch them on fucking college. Yeah. Dante Pettis can't do what he did in college in the NFL because they're gonna call all of his touchdowns back on blocking the back every time. Like it's gonna get eliminated and it's gonna fucking suck.
Yeah, and I'll tell you the one other thing that really, like, just since we're just on the officiating thing, like last little point, I hate the fact of the false start penalties on someone in the backfield. I can't remember what game we were watching. My brother and I were watching it the other day, and like the running back or the fullback just kind of like moved his foot a little bit. He's not even on the line of scrimmage.
I know.
Like it's just like it's so annoying. It's
Plus,
like,
you can move those guys in audibles.
like,
You can move those guys in audibles.
I mean,
and shit.
if
But like,
someone's
it's like as soon as you're set, though. I'm like, yeah, but this clown's in the backfield. Like he's
Yeah.
not causing anyone to jump on the other side. I mean, I don't know. Maybe I'm just emotional about it. But I'm just
no,
like,
it kind of irritates me too, man.
like I
You're
said, it's
sitting
just,
in-
there's another
it's-
flag.
it's
Back
bullshit.
it up,
Yep.
and it's like it just makes the game longer and almost unwatchable.
I mean, I think that the
sometimes.
Seahawks drives usually start 1st and 20
yeah.
almost every time because there's
Something.
there's some
Yeah.
bullshit. Or they kick off the ball and there's a block in the back, so they start on the fucking 5-yard line.
Yeah.
It's just dumb.
Can I say
the fuck
one
outta
thing
here.
about the Seahawks that I've noticed ever since the Hasselback days is that they really seem to take things seriously once you get into the goal line defense. Okay, if there's one thing that the Hawks take seriously within a game, it's the goal line defense. Why can't they have that same energy when they're in the midfield?
Well, because they have less field to play with in the red
You have
zone.
an- yeah, you
you've
have an
got
end
way
zone.
less. You've got way
So
less
you're
field
dealing,
to play.
you're dealing with 20 yards instead of 60.
Yeah, so it's like when you get the ball on a kickoff and you're at the 25, you've got the entire field
There's
to
a
play
lot of
with.
green out
Yeah.
there. But
Yeah, and these
but-
guys,
But when you get back, as soon as they get close into the defense, I mean, the offense, they don't have a lot of room to work with, and they got 11 guys squeezed into this tiny little box.
and
it's
that's
like,
where
oh,
that's where the
see.
play calling really becomes. You've got to be an expert on it.
Or no, I
So-
just think you should have the mindset that you're always in that small little box.
I mean, I'm sure they do, but
Yeah.
With plays being extended,
I mean, our
And passes
And
and
passes,
downfield
yeah.
and everything.
our backfield's pretty young, but we did not give up a lot of yardage.
No, I'm getting.
this
Yeah,
last
I
week.
was just about to get
for
to that.
Except for that flea flicker to Juju, which is a tricky kind of play.
And flea flickers are
and
always gonna
and Lano Hill was right on him. He just made
Yeah.
a great catch. I mean, it happens sometimes.
So I was gonna start getting into the stats and shit. So you're looking into the offense as a whole. The rushing game was nice, 151 rushing yards. So I said it last week on the show. Because in week 1 it was Chris Carson all the way. You didn't see a run game that was diverse or anything like that. So it was Chris Carson all the way. And so what you're looking at here is you're looking at an offense that really brought in their run game on the road, which is huge. So I said, watch out for Rashad Penny. He's going to be a big impact on this game. And so Rashad Penny had 10 carries, 62 yards, and 1 touchdown. And so the offense as a whole, as I just said, 151 yards. Awesome game. Chris Carson was 60 yards. CJ Prosise was 7. But he was still involved. And so Tyler Lockett led the Seahawks in the receiving with 10 receptions and 79 yards. Yes, 79 yards. And then right behind him was big DK Metcalf. Mm-hmm. I love watching this guy play.
Oh, he's awesome.
And so DK Metcalf with 3 receptions, 61 yards, and his first NFL touchdown. Mm-hmm. And here's the big guy in the receiving game, baby. My favorite. Big Uncle Will Dissly, the blocking tight end. The blocking tight end, he had 5 receptions for 50 yards and 2 touchdowns. So he's averaging 10 yards per catch. He looked awesome.
He's just got good hands, dude.
Wow.
He does. He's got great hands.
Hey, he doesn't eat popcorn before every game.
And Chris Carson had 27 yards with 3 receptions.
Yeah.
Juju Smith-Schuster was obviously the leading wide receiver with 5 receptions, 84 yards, including that flea flicker that Blake talked about, but he had no touchdowns. So great job shutting him down, and he's their number 1 receiver. Vance McDonald, another tight end who balled out last week, he had 7 receptions, 38 yards, 2 touchdowns. And then here's the reason why the Steelers are 0-2. Dante Moncrief.
Oh.
0 catches, 0 yards.
Wow.
And on this season,
He got pulled, didn't he?
he got pulled.
Yeah.
On this season, he's been targeted. Let me see. I've got it here. He's been targeted
Well, once last game,
but he got pulled after that because he caused the interception.
Yeah.
But in the week before, he was targeted 10 times.
Wow.
He caught 2 passes.
What the?
So you're looking at a guy who's got 8 drop passes on the season already. I won't be surprised if he's not on that roster here.
You know what? The Steelers need to just hang up their jerseys and go home.
Yeah. James Conner didn't have a good game.
Ben Roethlisberger's out with an elbow injury.
Yeah.
You know,
I think he said Tommy John surgery.
Just go for the first round pick. You're 0-2. Just go for it. Battle Miami out for that first round pick.
I'm looking at the box score right now, and it's playing his day the reason why we won.
Obviously.
72 plays, and we had possession for over 35 minutes.
Huge.
They just need all those guys to sell Girl Scout cookies for the rest of the season.
So James Conner didn't have a game. Yeah. As I said on the last episode, I said, James Conner, if you shut him down, this offense is going to plummet because if you watch out for Juju Smith and you watch out for James Conner, you can shut that offense down instantly. He got shut down. He had 11 carries for 33 yards and a touchdown, but the touchdown was given to him on the 1 yard line because of a pass interference that occurred on the 1 yard line from Michael Kendricks. So this Seahawks defense, with 1 interception, allowed 268 combined yards, and the Steelers defense allowed 451 yards and no turnovers. So you're looking at that, and you're seeing on the road in Pittsburgh, a place that the Seahawks have never statistically played well ever.
Yeah.
And they're coming in there, and they're only allowing 268 yards combined on offense. Yeah. That's a great fucking win. So they've got that win over them. They're coming back home. They're playing the Saints, who just lost Drew Brees. They just lost in LA, so they're looking for a win too. It's going to be a shootout. It's going to be fun. I can't wait.
I feel like the Saints are just like the Chargers in a sense, though, man. Like we just can't. We always have the worst stroke of bad luck with that.
I don't think so. They've no. They've been able to work the Saints, especially here at home.
Yeah, we beat them twice in the playoffs in recent history.
Oh, that's right.
So here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna
I'm
wrap
just talking
this
out of my
up.
ass.
I'm going to wrap this episode up because I'm sweating like a fucking pig. The game's starting, and I have to piss really fucking bad. So, you guys, I love that you guys came in here, and I really hope that we can get you guys back in here.
Yeah. Sorry, I don't know shit about football.
No, but you're still part of the conversation, man. That's all it takes. And I fucking love you guys.
I
love the whole CSB audience, everybody that loves this sideshow. Let me know if there's anything that you want me to brush up against. Obviously, when more sports are in, hockey, basketball, we'll be getting a little bit more in that, and I'm looking for people to come in and help me talk to that, especially with martial arts, mixed martial arts, and with boxing.
For sure.
Marq, I'm looking at you.
I'm going to be the guy for that.
Excellent.
I know how to talk on that one.
Well, I love you guys.
Love you too, man.
And we'll see you on next week's episode of CSB. Here we go.